Welcome back, everybody. It's me, Kev, with Tarot with a Twist. If it's your first time here, thank you very much for joining me. And for all those who follow me, thank you, because without you, this channel would not exist. So we're going to do a Zodiac reading this week, and I'm going to cover all the signs grouped by element. So we'll have fire, air, water, and earth. And that correlates to pentacles, wands, swords, and cups. All right. And to kick this off, I'm going to use my mini cross spread for this. Now, I'm using this deck here from Deviant Moon because when I did the Universe's 2 cents for this week coming up, it kind of had a little bit of a dark vibe to it. And so more like shadowy type of a thing going on. And I just chose to use this deck because this deck really fits nicely with that. And that's the kind of vibe I was getting for that article. It's called Universe's 2 cents. And if you'd like to read it, wordofthetwist.com, become a member, and for your page, you can enjoy that coming to you each week. So we're now going to look at the theme for everybody and then the crossing card or maybe the blocker energy. So this week, what we're looking at is a tower, and it's telling you that whatever's transpired in life, you have to just let it go. You can't fight it no more, because when you do, then things just become completely chaotic. So you're ready to drop. You're ready to let it all come crumbling and crashing down. And it shows me here there's really no sides, because this gets a little political here, red and blue. So this could be something around what you believe, what your core beliefs are, but you're seeing here that both sides fall, because end of the day, they're really one party. So you got to let go of that. You have to let go of picking sides and really coming together with people. And that's what Tower's saying. The saying, just stop and let everything come falling down. And what's blocking you from doing that is the 10 of Swords. Is you feel that you can't because you're so programmed to believe one thing. And this goes really in line with my Universe's 2 cents column, that you feel like you're so controlled, so restricted, that it's hard to really make the decision to let it go. And because of that, you feel like that if you do, then what do you have left, right? That's all that you have. And your mind is just torn and twisted. And you feel like you're just at the end of the rope. That's what's going on. And so that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Now, take the political piece out of it, and still the fact remains is that you have to let things go. But what's stopping you is that your mind is just completely twisted, and you're kind of giving up a little bit of hope, right? Don't do that. Now, when we go up here to the earth signs, what do we have? We have, wow, another sword card. That's kind of an interesting thing to see there, which speaks to the Capricorn, Tauruses, and Virgos. What this is showing me is that even though you know you have to break sides, it's almost like you're ready to rip it all apart. You're ready to say, I'm done. I'm going to take these bandages off of me. I'm no longer going to buy into the narratives that are being pushed. It makes me feel so broken. That's a cycle of 10. You got to break it. So broken. And that you're ready to just let go and live life. That's the energy I'm picking up on for the earth. And you're grounded in reality, right? When you're thinking about Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgos, you are really grounded in reality. And what's funny here is you have a 5 and a 3 on the card, which is the 8. And the 5 is what? It's around struggle and contention or freedom. And 3 is around communication, expansion, and growth. And you're ready to grow. You're ready to break free of the bonds that are tying you back. And by doing so, you have the 8, which is the engine that kind of keeps you moving forward. So once you learn to let go of all of this, then guess what? The Tower comes, you can break free from the 10 of Swords bond that's holding you back, and you can finally have a little bit of clarity of mind. Now, we're going to pull some Lenormand cards as well to see we go a little deeper on the Earth sign, all right? Now, this week, I'm not going to compare the position like I did last week. We're just going to read them by the element, okay? So for Earth, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, we have what for Lenormand? What's it got to tell us? Yeah, see, it's, boy, the central theme, the core tension is around communication, the 12, the birds, gossiping, propaganda, people speaking behind your back that make you feeling trapped. So again, it is kind of leading more towards things going on in the world right now. And that's something you're going to have to stop doing, stop listening to, because all it does is bring you down and make you want to collapse. 3, it makes you just feel like you have no growth. And then what it's telling you that there's always messages that are coming in. Remember I said earlier about tower dropping, that cloud your vision. They make you feel like it's the end, right? And so these messages that you always are hearing is the 8, which is the coffin in Lenormand that really aligns with the Ten of Swords in the middle. And that's the thing that keeps blocking you because you feel like you're trapped. So those messages are put in your head that you can't move forward, that you're trapped with the world. And there's an 8 as well, right? So it's kind of keeping you locked up through all the messaging that they're doing. So you have to learn to actually break free and ignore that, because if you don't, it just keeps driving you into an early grave mentally. Okay, not physically, mentally. And when I look at this here too, you have a 12 and an 8, which is a 20. This is crazy. And a 20 and a 1 is a 21 is what? A 3. It's, again, you have to stop blocking out other communication from others in order for you to grow and expand. And that starts off by ripping off the things that are blinding you and moving forward with your mind. Clear it up a little bit and don't get caught up in your head. All right, now we're going to go to the fire signs. This is going to be the Aries, Leos, and Sagittariuses. And here you have the 5 of Cups. It's telling you that there's no more need to be emotionally trapped, emotionally drained. You don't have to really sweat things anymore because things are now on the up and up. So that 5, which is flipped, is telling me that you're now starting to free yourself from all the heartbreak and the turmoil. So that fire is now, or the anger that you had, or whatever it might have been that kind of kept you in this state of chaos, is now starting to fizzle out because the water is going to help balance out the fire. And that's what I'm seeing here for Aries, Leos, and Sagittarius, and that's the 5 of Cups. So it's time to really not get caught up in all the nonsense that you're hearing. Let the tower come down so you can free your mind from the 10 of Swords. Break that cycle of chaos and trauma and finally have a little bit of happiness in your life by letting it all go and not getting caught up in all the drama. And that's what the 5 is saying, because it's upside down. It's to just walk away a little bit, right? Let your emotions free. Realize that it all means nothing at the end of the day. All right? That's the vibe I'm getting there. Now we're going to pull 3 Lenormand cards here also to see what it has to say for us, for our fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittariuses. Okay. Usually I would use 4 different Lenormand decks, but we're using 1 because I want to pick the same energy from the same pool. All right. So here the core tension for the Leos is around 22, challenges and struggles. That makes sense because when you're trying to free yourself from problems, right, like in the 5 of Cups, and you're saying that I don't want to no longer be emotionally constrained to something, then you have a decision to make, and that's the mountain. Sorry, that's the crossroad. And you have to choose which path you're going to take. Are you going to continue to sit there and allow it to get the best of you, or are you going to walk the path that basically moves you around the problem so you can have clarity, you can have a little bit of freedom, right? That's a choice that you have to actually make. And that's the kind of theme, is like making the decision to break free from all of the nonsense that you're dealing with. So what it is that you're always feeling alone, the decisions you have to make, and it makes you just feel kind of like you can't move forward. But you're seeing here the tarot's telling you have to let that feeling of isolation go and really rise to the occasion and let all this tension and hardship you've been facing overall drop so you can break free from this 10 of Swords reality where you feel like you're at the end of the rope. So by realizing that you don't have to be caught in the emotional turmoil, that the isolation will break from the choices that you make that are going to open up new things for you, new pathways. So this is a letter. It's written in stone, as you can see right there. And you want to walk away from the sorrow. That's the 27. And what I'm seeing here is if you can make your decisions of the 2, analyze them properly without jumping the gun all the time with that Leo energy, you have a 9, which means you're going to attain what you would like to have. And then that isolation then breaks free, right? So that new possibilities are going to open through you through some type of communication, some type of messaging, right? So the isolation or being alone feeling by making decisions is going to unlock and bring in new news because you're going to decide to finally make a different choice the way you usually deal with turmoil and a feeling of high anxiety, like you're at the end of the line, okay? Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move into the air signs, and this is going to be the Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Boy, I tell you, all these 10s. And so for you all, the mind, you feel that it's time to let go of the burden, right? And so since this is a mind reading with a soul card kind of coming down heavy, you have to just let things go and let other people help you out. Don't always try to think through the problem yourself. It's a 10 of Wands, which means let the cycle die and let it complete. So that burden that's on your back, release it. Let other people come into your life and help you out. And if you can do that, then things are going to kind of start working out better for you. You won't feel everything being so heavy, so constrained, so restrictive, that sun can then finally shine in a good way. Rather than burning you out, it can energize you and bring back a little bit of peace and balance to your life, okay? So that's what I'm seeing, is get out of your heads and just let things go as they should, right? Just roll with it a little bit. Now we're going to pull 3 Lenormand cards here as well for our air signs, Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini, and just kind of see where it lands. All right. And again, you feel like you need help, because the Tower, once that comes crashing down, you're gonna need all the support you can get, but you have to be willing to release the burden that you hold, right? And it's just time. Now the core energy around this is the fox. Is it? Yeah. See, mind. What's a fox in Lenormand? It's all around kind of a little bit of deception going on, or a little bit being kind of sneaky, a little bit of foul play maybe is going on in your life, and that's what's making you feel like things are kind of falling down, keeping you in that Ten of Sword kind of a vibe. So maybe a little bit of slyness going on, a little bit of being coy, and the 2 cards is success. So what's saying is that if you want to have success, that this feeling of have to go alone and be a little bit sly in how you do things, you have to release that and take it to a different level, take it to a different way. And you see how like the fox is looking at the key, but it's not looking at the ship, because what's holding you back is that you feel you get to outsmart everybody, outwit people. And then by doing so, that's how you think you're going to win, but you won't win, because success comes through changing, and the changes through travel, through communicating differently, right? That's also like a ship. The 3 is through working with others in a different means. You don't always have to be the one who's the smartest person in the room. You need to learn to trust people, 10 of Wands, to let them help carry the burden. It's not always having to be on your back, right? And if you can do that, then that's going to help you have success by changing the way you do things, all right? And how is that? By exploring different paths to communicate, by working with others in a different way. That's what's going to unlock the success for you. And what's interesting too, here you have a 3 and a 14, which is a 17, which becomes an 8. And an 8 and a 33 is a 41. And that reduces to a 5. So if you continue in the same path, always trying to be the one who has to outsmart everybody, then it becomes very contentious, and this burden will never be released. It'll always be this way. You're always carrying the load yourself, but you can see it's upside down, so you have to let it go. Okay? So that's the kind of message I'm feeling for all you air signs out there. Now, for the last sign, we have water, which is cups. And that's going to be the Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And the vibe we're getting here is the Hangman, which is telling us that it's time that you handle your business a little bit differently. Look at things from different perspectives. So even though you feel like everything's coming crashing down, right here, things are coming crashing down, you feel like you're caged in this box, your mind just snapped. It's because you have to step away from the normal way you do things and look at it differently. And when you look at things hanging upside down, you ever go to a gym and like sit on like a board where you're kind of upside down a little bit and people look funny when they're walking? That's what I'm talking about. Or hang on to a monkey bar and like hang upside down. And when you see people walk, they look kind of like they're floating, because you're looking at things differently. And that's how you have to deal with the tower dropping. It's not a time to be emotional. It's not a time to like give into your emotions. Time to break free from that and just look at it for what it is. And don't look at it as self-sacrifice. Look at it as growing from doing things differently than you normally would. That's exactly how I'm feeling this card here. And again, it's a 12, 3. Communication, growth, and so forth, okay? Now we're going to go to Lenormand here and see what it can pick up for us to go a little deeper. Okay, so for the water signs, what do we got going on? We shall see here in a minute. Yeah, so you have to just basically let things just cut away quickly. You have to let things just basically be reset very fast. So that's a 10, right? So it's a cycle coming to an end, to one of new possibilities and new potentials in your life. And I think, boy, this is insane. So until you learn to basically cut away all the constant tension in your life, all the constant problems, whip and scythe. It's like you're always being beaten because you're not allowing this to end, and then you're not trusting your friends to help you out. So it's almost like a pity part. It's almost like you're saying, I'm feeling sorry for myself, that woe is me, because it's always happening. But if you look, it's always going this direction. It's always going to the left, which is basically passive, like passive aggressive. You got to stop that passive aggressive nonsense and think about, what are you beating up? Are you beating up your friend? Because that's what it marries to, is the dog, 18, right? And Lenormand, which implies you're always trying to mess up your support. How? By beating him into submission. And then because of that you're all trying to cut it away, but it's going in this direction. So you're not really trying to cut it. It's more like that feeling sorry for yourself. So you get the attention that you want, and that's you have to stop. So when things come crashing down, you can't really always feel like you can have it your way, because it isn't going to happen. You have to basically let people help you, kind of like over here with the air signs, to get over this hump, to get over the struggle that you're dealing with. Okay. That's the vibe I'm getting for the water signs. And that is your Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Now we're going to pull an oracle card for each position. And this deck is called the Wisdom of the Shadow Oracle deck. All right. And then for the earth signs, which is Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, is telling us that you have to be resistant, right? Stop saying yes, learn to say no. Be resistant. So when the communication comes in this kind of foul, not really helping you, resist that crap. Walk away from it and say, nope, not today, Satan. I ain't dealing with it, and just go your merry way. Resistance, okay? And then for the air signs, which is the Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini, the card for you is rising. It's time to rise. Let others help you out. Let their passion, let their fire also help you move forward. You don't have to go it alone, because success comes from not always being the smartest person in the room, the fox, the sly fox. You don't have to always be the smartest person in the room, and then take a chance on exploring things a little bit differently than you normally would. And that means you're going to then to rise to power. That's your rising within, okay? Then for the Leos out there and the Aries and Sagittarius, which is the fire signs, it's telling us to grieve, which means that it's okay to feel bad. It's okay to put your guard down. To Leo energy, that fire energy, Aries and Sagittarius is like, you always want to put up this front. You don't have to. Like grief. Grief is okay. Sometimes it's okay to cry. Yeah, I'm saying that. Sometimes it's okay to cry and just let shit go. Because if you don't do that, then it just builds up. It balls up until an explosion happens. Then when those choices come here, the 22, those hard choices come right here, you can't make them. So then these messages you're supposed to get, or this new news you're supposed to get, it just never arrives, because you're so busy trying to protect the ego that you can't just let things go. So grieve a little bit, right? Let grief happen. Deal with it. All right. And then to wrap this up, we're going to look at the water signs, and that is your Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And it's saying identity. Identity. Basically, it's telling you that you know who you are. So you can look at things differently. You don't have to pretend to be anybody else. Be who you are. Identify with who you are, and trust people, trust your friends, trust those who are going to support you. So when you start cutting things away, don't cut into your friendships. Don't cut into those who want to help and support you. Instead, realize your true self, and that you don't always have to be the one with the stinger out, Scorpio. I know Cancer ain't got none, but you got the claws of the crab, right? Pisces, you don't always have to be the one with your stingers out, always whipping people into submission. Just let it go. Believe in yourself, and guess what? The tower drops. It's going to be okay. So anyway, let me pull some dice here. One more thing. So we're going to run these dice here, and so they assign with the cards element association 2. So blue is cups, green is earth, yellow is swords, and red is fire or wands. So what do we got here for these? Oh, that one over here. So the 5, interesting. So the 5 is the earth card right there. So that's Pentacles. It's telling you that by resisting, then you can be free. And that will bring a little bit of sense of freedom to you rather than all this contention. So 5 is freedom. How? Through resistance. That's how you're going to find your freedom. Waters is innate. Is that when you have your true identity and stop putting on a mask, then you can really have the power of the 8 to continue to move forward and not let anything get in your way. And you can then rely on friends to help you out, because now you know what you're doing, where you want to go and how you want to get there. That's the 8. Now, as far as the air signs is a 10, hit that wrong way. Here's a 10. And by completing the cycle and letting things go and trying things differently, you're going to rise and have a new beginning, a new opportunity. And that's your 10. And then the Leos and the Sagittarius and Aries is a 1. It means that when you start to learn to let things go and grieve a little bit with grief, let it just kind of pass through, then 1 occurs. Dang it, 1 occurs to you, and that means new beginnings start to arrive. All right, that's all I got. If you enjoyed this reading, let me know in the comments, drop it below. And if you like an energy reading for yourself, wordofthetwist.com, book a reading and pick one. I'm here for you. And again, if there's anything you would like to see, let me know. And until next time, I want to see you in my next reading or tutorial. All right, bye everybody.